Hello Cowboys fans. Here's another round of Dallas Cowboys news. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any news from your team. DQ to replace Pete Carroll of the Seahawks? Since his arrival in 2021, Dan Quinn has totally changed the game for the Dallas Cowboys defense. The Dallas defense was one of the worst in the NFL in 2020, but since Quinn took over, it has been one of the best in the league. Part of this has to do with personnel changes, most notably the signing of star pass rusher Micah Parsons in 2021, but the impact of Quinn's scheme has been undeniable. With his excellent performance in Dallas, Quinn has become a popular candidate to become head coach once again. The former Atlanta Falcons coach was interviewed for several gigs last offseason, but opted to remain with the Cowboys. However, the latest rumor could be something to watch. Related content. According to Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated, Quinn would be on the Seattle Seahawks' radar if longtime coach Pete Carroll decided to retire. Is Pete Carroll retiring in Seattle? I don't think so, but I've heard a lot in recent weeks in those circles, like people who work in those circles and in the coaching carousel circles, that Dan Quinn would be the successor in Seattle if Pete Carroll suspended him after this year? Breer said on The Rich Eisen Show. One reason why an opportunity in Seattle could be so attractive is because of Quinn's previous connections with the club. The 53-year-old joined the Seahawks as defensive line coach and assistant coach in 2009 and 2010 and, after a 2-year stint with the Florida Gators, returned to lead the Legion of Boom defense in 2013 and 2014. Quinn helped the Seahawks win their first Super Bowl title, and they almost won another before he left to coach the Falcons. Related, broken tackles, broken hearts, can Quinn fix the Cowboys' defense? Of course, that possibility depends entirely on Carroll hanging up his headset and, as Breer notes, that's far from a certainty. However, the 72-year-old is the oldest coach in the league, so it may not be long before Seattle finds a new bench boss. It would also require Quinn to opt to leave Dallas, and it's important to note that on several occasions, Quinn has expressed to Mike Fisher of CowboysSI.com his pleasure at working at the Star and his desire to finish the job in Dallas. If Pete Carroll retires as head coach of the Seattle Seahawks, Quinn could be a candidate to replace him, Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated said Tuesday on The Rich Eisen Show. Does Pete Carroll retire in Seattle? I don't think so, but I've heard a lot in recent weeks in those circles, like people who work in those circles and in the coaching carousel circles, that Dan Quinn would be the successor in Seattle if Pete Carroll suspended him after this year? Breer said, 1:15 mark. Quinn, who has been defensive coordinator in Dallas since 2021, has been reluctant to take over as head coach in recent seasons. He received interest from several teams prior to the 2023 campaign, but informed those franchises that he would remain with the Cowboys. However, Quinn has already spent some time with the Seahawks, so the possibility of returning to the franchise as head coach could be intriguing. Quinn served as Seattle's assistant head coach and defensive line coach from 2009 to 2010 before leaving to serve as defensive coordinator and defensive line coach at the University of Florida from 2011 to 2012. The 53-year-old returned to the Seahawks as defensive coordinator from 2013 to 2014, leading the team's top-ranked defense that helped the franchise to consecutive Super Bowl berths and a title in 2014. A return to Seattle would also mean a reunion between Quinn and general manager and executive vice president John Schneider, who has been with the Seahawks since 2010. Quinn's only NFL head coaching job came with the Atlanta Falcons from 2015 to 20. He went 43-42 in that period before being sacked after a 0-5 start to the 2020 season. Broken equipment, broken hearts, can Quinn fix the Cowboys' defense? The tackling wasn't up to standard. Defensive coordinator Dan Quinn reveals the biggest problems with the Dallas Cowboys' defense. The Dallas Cowboys didn't perform as well as they would have liked on Sunday against the Buffalo Bills. After practicing with wet balls and pasting pictures of Bills defenders on their practice equipment, the Cowboys still fell to Buffalo, 31-10. Exposing more than a few warts for the playoff-bound boys. Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn identified a bigger problem, the Cowboys' tackling problems. The biggest impact on this game was our tackling and our hawking, Quinn said. We're excellent at those two things and we performed poorly in both. Our offense was not up to the standard we set. That's our secret sauce, our tackling and our falconry, and we didn't have that. Dallas' below-average defense could be no match for the Bills' dominant running game. Buffalo running back James Cook totaled 179 yards on 25 rushes and added a touchdown to the scoreboard on Sunday. Ty Johnson also added 54 rushing yards. In fact, combining the two, the Dallas offense broke 6 tackles. The Dallas defense allowed 12 broken tackles. If you play the game plus-minus in that category, the Cowboys are big losers. Even with Sunday's loss, the 10-4 Cowboys are still number 1 in the NFC East. And the Dallas defense will have a chance to redeem itself on Sunday when they face the 10-4 Miami Dolphins. But the Cowboys are aware, as Cowboys Nation surely is too, against Raheem Mostert and Tyreek Hill and the Dolphins offense. Did you miss 12 tackles? The Dolphins will have 12 monster plays, and the Cowboys will probably lose again. Would the Cowboys need more from the rookie? When the Dallas Cowboys defense recorded the 31-10 loss to the Buffalo Bills, it was downright embarrassing. They didn't tackle well. They got pushed around and weren't physical. They didn't set the edge. And they got beat and were totally bullied to the tune of 266 yards on 49 attempts. Running back James Cook rushed 25 times for 179 yards, his career high. His average of 7.2 yards per attempt was an example of how the Cowboys' defense was playing with both hands for much of the game. The blame falls on everyone, from the coaches to the players. And while no Cowboys defense since Dan Quinn arrived in 2021 has allowed so many yards on the ground, the run defense has always been the proverbial kryptonite of a unit that has advanced against the quarterback and turned the ball over more than any other team in the league. It's the reason why the Cowboys' decision to take giant Michigan nose tackle Motzie Smith in the first round of the 2023 NFL Draft was heralded inside and outside the organization as a wise move. It wasn't about being sexy, it was about doing the right thing to take the defense from good to excellent. Smith said on draft night, "The Cowboys told me my first and most important job is to be the elite defender they need on defense. And my second job is to show everyone that I can affect the quarterback. That's something I need to work on, I need to hone. But I can't lose sight of the first goal to make sure I stop that run and make sure I'm strong up the middle." Head coach Mike McCarthy backed the decision to take on Smith, 6'3" and 323 pounds, who was the first defensive tackle taken in the first round by the franchise since Russell Maryland in 1991. Clearly, the focus is when you go through the postseason evaluation, and clearly we wanted to improve our run defense, McCarthy said. And I think it's clear, he does that. We love everything about Motzie. He's a great option for us. But the strength of the defense is getting the ball out and passing quickly. We just want to get better on initial downs. The Cowboys ranked 22nd in the NFL against the run in 2022, losing an average of 129.3 yards per game. They gave up 2.7 yards before contact per rush, ranking 21st. And the Cowboys' defensive tackles ranked 28th in internal run-stop win rate last year, 28.5%. Ironically, the Cowboys didn't need or ask much of Smith before the Bills game. Comment on what you thought of this news. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any Dallas Cowboys news. Thank you.